As we examine WordPress themes, there's one file that doesn't fit into the template mold. It's a very unique file called functions.php. Now, it used to be that some themes didn't even have a functions.php file, and then some did, but they were fairly simple. They kind of look like this. And what this is doing actually in this particular function here is it's creating a sidebar, a place to put widgets. And that's one of the things that you do in a functions file. So in this particular case, yes, there was a widgetized sidebar, and it's being created. So it's a very powerful tool, and in fact, it's becoming an extremely powerful tool to the extent that here's the default theme now in WordPress, and look at what we're doing in this functions file. Functions.php has become enormous, and this is fairly small actually by today's standards. And in fact, a lot of themes will break up functions into many files by their type of function and so forth, make it easier to find, because this is getting a bit unwieldy. The one thing that's going on here though that's very handy to look in your default theme is you can learn a lot. This is a very well documented functions file, and it explains in great detail what the options are, what it's doing, so it's a great way to learn what's going on. Here's one of the main things that a functions.php file does, and they're kind of listed right here in the comments, but let's go through them. For example, what we're doing is turning on functions in WordPress. They're there, but they aren't necessarily working until you tell them to. So in this case, we're saying let's use Visual Editor style sheeting. Remember, we wanted to show our visitors what their site's going to look like more accurately in the visual text editor of WordPress. So that gets turned on here. Then we're going to say we want to support post formats. You have to specify that, and that's done in the functions file. And in fact, we tell it which post formats we're going to use. This is a very important one. Adding support for post thumbnails or featured images. That is very widely used now in themes, so you'll want to probably have that. Automatic feed links, very important. Supporting languages, that again can be very useful. So all of these things are turning on elements of WordPress for us. Another very important element of the functions file these days is creating your navigation menu areas. So that's what it's doing here, is it's creating a single navigation area. You can create as many as you want, all done through functions.php. And again, widgets, as we saw earlier. So much more going on in functions these days, and we'll deal with each of these elements when we're talking about, say, menus or talking about featured images. And we'll come back to the functions file many times.